Hello.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
I certainly can. Wow, thank you for joining us here today.
My pleasure.
Super exciting. I have learnt even more about you since I asked you to hop on. I've been doing some research on your website and I'm like, hold on, there's more products that aren't available for me. Yeah, so I'll have to talk to you about that later. I see you've got emu oil and Kakadu plum.
Yeah, lots of great
Wow.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of great stuff. So yeah. So just to give you a quick rundown, because I've got 2 minutes before I send this live streaming. Yeah, I'll just kind of, introduce you very basically, and then I'll let you tell your story because that's probably, more powerful coming from yourself because like a lot of us in this natural health era, we've had to find our way in health, and I think you've got a very powerful story to tell.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited to share it, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah, and I love the posts that you put up in our colleagues group as well. So
Yeah.
there was one really good one about vitamin C and the
Yep.
importance of yeah.
Yeah. So I'm, writing a book, so that's where I was kind of doing a deep dive on vitamin C for my book. So that's hopefully I'll be done. Hopefully be done soon, shortly this year sometime. I'll publish that.
Awesome, that's pretty exciting. I did see that and I was like, oh wow, a book as well. You're a man of many talents.
Want to change the world. So
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's a very good time and space to do that because the last few
yep.
years have been insane.
Yeah. Yeah. That needs more people like us out there.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, I'm gonna get this ready to stream live to Facebook. Um, I'll also organize to get you a copy of this as well. I think Natalie was emailing me about that. So once this is once the download for Zoom is finished, I'll be sure to send her a link to download a copy of this as well for your record.
Okay, fantastic. Yep, she's on in the background here. So Natalie.
Awesome. We've been chatting to and fro. Okay,
Yep,
so
that's fantastic.
I'm gonna. My assistant is also going to be. My assistant is going to be on Facebook, putting in links and things where needed,
Yep,
as
awesome.
well as yeah, facilitating that way. Okay, so we're just going to go stream live to Facebook. It does take a minute, and hopefully my phone will let me know when we are actually live. Redirecting to Facebook, done. Okay, so I think we are live to Facebook now.
Okay.
And let me just double check that. Hopefully everything is working. Just want to do a sound check. If you are watching us live on Facebook, Jen, my assistant, if you're watching, could you please let us know that the sound is actually working? There's nothing worse than doing these calls and the sound's not working, because I have actually done that before. So this is one of our interviews for our launch of our Naturally Vibrant online store that we're launching in Australia. So if you're watching in the US, you're more than welcome to use this information. We are actually testing with some clients that I have in the US to see if it's possible to expand this worldwide. So we'll just see, but for now, this is a Australian launch for our online store. So for those of you who are new to my profile here, my name is Belinda, and I'm very passionate about helping people who have been suffering with autoimmune problems, thyroid issues, menopause and menopause symptoms, and so much more, get back their vibrance and their spark so that they can live the lives that they truly deserve to live. And today I have a wonderful expert with me joining us. And this is Dan from Smidge, and he's also the founder of 𝗳𝗏𝘃𝗃. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yep. So our company is 𝗳𝗏𝘃𝗃, and our brand, our supplement brand is Smidge.
Awesome. So Dan joins me, and Dan he is actually a supplement maker and a holistic health expert. And I believe a survivor of a life-threatening intestinal condition. Do you want to share a bit of your background story and how you found yourself in this position and how that led to developing all of these wonderful supplements that you get to bring to the world today?
Yep. Yeah, I'd love to share my story. Yeah. So in my 20s, when you'd think you'd be at the peak of your health, my health was on this downward spiral. And I had the most troubling issue was I had severe hypoglycemia. So I had low blood sugar. So I would start the day off at 50 when it should be closer to 80. So it was low. And then if I didn't eat massive quantities of food, it would drop to below 20. So my blood sugar meter would say, seek emergency medical attention, because that's when you start risking a stroke or death. So it would be a really, really bad situation. And so that would happen, and which was just, it was a nightmare. So anyway, so every day it was almost like you're at the starting line of a race, that I would wake up and I knew if I went too long without eating or didn't eat enough food, then the blood sugar would drop, and I could never get it above 50. So I was eating sometimes over 10,000 calories a day. So I was just nonstop eating. I had insatiable hunger, so I never got full. And that's what my life consisted of, was just like eating to avoid this drop in blood sugar. And my weight was 130 pounds at 6 feet tall. So I was really thin, so I couldn't gain weight. So it was just this bizarre situation, and then over time, more and more gut related health issues arose. So it would just kind of keep piling on. So I would get, start becoming lactose intolerant. Then I was becoming, I had allergies, seasonal allergies, or allergies to cats, or food sensitivities. So it just kept piling on. So it was just getting worse and worse. So I sought medical help, went to the doctors. They do some blood work, and they say, Dan, your blood work looks great. There's nothing wrong. and I'm over here thinking, like, there's a lot of things that are wrong. And so really going to doctor after after doctor, and then seeking out, different holistic alternative practitioners. What it came to realize was, I had to take control. I couldn't just go to somebody and say, fix me. And so I had to take control of my own health. And so then I just, started reading a bunch of books, going to classes, workshops, just reading and trying different things. And so I tried a lot, learned a lot. And then once I was able to turn the corner and restore my health, and, these symptoms went away. And but it took me 10 years. And so at the end of that, what I did was I thought, well, I don't want anybody else to go through 10 years of misery. So I started giving some just free talks local to my local community, to just trying to help people kind of shorten that path, shorten their journey. And then what would happen at the end of each talk, people come up and they would ask for recommendations on products. And I tell them, I said, I'm not here to sell a product. I'm just trying to share information. But then they would say, well, there's like, tens of thousands of products out there. We need help. We don't have time. We don't know how to figure this stuff out. So what I ended up doing was start selling products online, where I curate, the best of the best, and I put the products online. And then through my kind of journey, I think I attracted, you kind of attract like. So I attracted a lot of people that had a lot of sensitivities, and dealing with gut health type issues. And what happened was they would say, Dan, this product, my kids can't take this product because of, they're sensitive to maybe a strain of bacteria, or they're sensitive to a prebiotic, or all these different things. So I'm like, well, I better go back, go back to the drawing board and find something else. And with regard to the probiotic, I couldn't find anything that would meet the needs of these people that were very sensitive. Like there was nothing in the marketplace. So in 2010, with the help of my partners and myself, Archie, Karen, and myself, in 2010, we launched our first probiotic, and that addressed a number of different issues. And so that's really how our supplement company began, was in 2010, developing a probiotic for the most sensitive people.
Yeah, so a lot of people have so many different food sensitivities and histamine related issues, leaky gut problems. My son, who technically is diagnosed autistic, he also had a lot of issues in gut sensitivities and things.
Right.
So yeah, I noticed that your probiotic tends to help these sort of unique people.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was that's really what, it was interesting. Kind of like the people that needed it the most were like, or that needed the help of a probiotic the most, would react even stronger to ones that weren't suitable. So it was this kind of like this kind of catch-22 situation. And so that's how we started. And so really our company's mission was really to kind of like I was telling you before, like myself, it was like, okay, I can't just go to somebody and have them fix me. So our company mission is really to empower optimal health, and we do that primarily through our supplements, but also through any type we can educate people. And so what we do is, we kind of comb the world for the most nutrient dense, ingredients, and then we completely avoid any synthetic vitamins. And so that's kind of us in a nutshell, kind of what we're all about, our mission.
Yeah, and I think that's where we align, because that's my first thing is education. So we're not here to treat, diagnose, or cure anyone.
Right.
Our goal is to empower people to take control of their health. And
Exactly.
yeah, and one thing that we do is also do that stock take of those supplements that people are already taking, because quite often they contain those synthetic things, and it can be detrimental to health.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So very powerful company mission and very ambitious. So when it comes to educating people, what have you done in the past to educate people? Because I noticed that one thing that Natalie sent me, you were doing leadership with Weston A. Price.
Yeah. So that was one of the first groups that I had gotten involved with. And the very first chapter of the Weston A. Price Foundation was in Detroit. That's where I was living when I went through my health journey. And so I was on their leadership team, and we helped, organize conferences and events in Southeast Michigan. And and like I said, I was giving talks, then I joined them and started helping volunteer my time with them. And then we do a lot of educational, just email campaigns just to help people on that front. And then also I'm in the midst of writing a book, because I wanted to really kind of capture everything and just kind of, relay kind of like where we're coming from, and then that way people can have a better understanding. Because sometimes when you go to a website, you might see a couple products. It's hard to like connect the dots sometimes if you don't get that whole kind of overview, so that's kind of the goal with the book, is kind of connect all the dots.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what you mentioned off camera earlier, is that you're hoping to release that book later this year. Is that right?
As I was hoping to release it last year, now I'm hoping to release it this year. So I think that's just kind of the story of writing your first book is that's another journey. You don't know what you don't know, and really the challenge is, making it, or my goal in the book is just making it accessible, that to really convey information in a way that's easily absorbed, and so that's kind of it's putting a lot of effort and pouring my heart into it. So
yeah, awesome. So just going back to digestive support, and you have a number of probiotic products. One is the sensitive one, and one is the optimal probiotic. Why should people consider a Smidge, the probiotic? How does it differ from other brands, and what are they going to benefit from? I think they're amazing products, but what are they going to benefit from these amazing products?
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of products in the marketplace, and so our first product that we launched was the sensitive probiotic, and this is where I was saying that we were tackling issues, whether it was we heard from customers that had challenges with histamine issues. So strains can either be histamine forming, histamine neutral, or histamine degrading. So you can so normally when people look at probiotics, they might look at a strain and look at, oh, what's the benefit of that individual strain, which is fine. But sometimes you have to take a step back and look more holistically. And so kind of our approach is, if you can improve the overall health of your gut microflora, then you're going to be so far ahead than just trying to in Western medicine, or the Western approach usually is like, name the problem, name the fix, or name the drug, or whatever it is, and then that's applied to the holistic side too, and that's that may work for some people, but our approach is really kind of more holistic view. So with regard to the sensitive probiotic, so we were tackling the the histamine thing, and then the other one is D-lactic acid. So you can have strains that produce D or L, or a combination of D and L lactic acid, and all of them are fine. It's just if you got in a situation where you had too much D-lactic acid, again, it's all about balance. And so that's kind of the driving force of all of our products is really trying to usher the body into balance. And so it's not about fixing anything. So we never go about make any claims like that, but we're all about, hey, let's kind of get the body into balance, and then kind of get out of the way and see where it can right itself. And so with the probiotic, with the sensitive probiotic, so that comes in a powder form where there's nothing added, so there's no prebiotic. So what we found was, some people just react to different types of prebiotics, number one, and sometimes if you're depending on where you are in your healing journey, that a probiotic may not be suitable for you. So a prebiotic is the food that the bacteria eat. So normally when you buy a probiotic, it's like, hey, great, it's got prebiotic as food for the bacteria, which is all well and good. But if that kind of sets you back, or if it's doesn't help you, then that's not a good thing. So we don't have any fillers or prebiotic in our Smidge sensitive probiotic powder. And then like I said, the strain selection is very, very meticulous in terms of trying to avoid any of these different types of issues. And so we usually, and we have practitioners that'll be their go-to probiotic, because then they know, like, they can focus on other parts of the person's healing journey, and not worry about, well, are they reacting to this, reacting to that, or that you kind of eliminate a lot of variables. So that's kind of the Smidge sensitive probiotic in a nutshell. And some people just stay with that because that works. And so it's like, kind of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, hey, this one's working. And they might have underlying issues where they do just have, certain responses to certain bacteria. So some people just stick on that, and that's fine. The optimal probiotic, that was, we've had customers that said, hey, they kind of wanted to graduate. They wanted to say, okay, I did some gut healing, cleaned up my diet, took this sensitive probiotic, and now I want to, experience the benefits of other strains, but I'm still kind of like, just want to dip my toe in the water. I don't want to like just take a single strain mega dose probiotic of something, because then, you might get out of balance again. And that's what we don't want. So what we did was the optimal probiotic, it has a more robust strain, or more comprehensive formula, if you will. And so that has 13 strains of bacteria. And they're all in balance. So they're not all going to create D-lactic acid, or they're not going to be all histamine forming. So it's a balanced formula where you can, basically the goal is to derive the most benefit while mitigating any potential downsides. So that's kind of the story behind the optimal probiotic.
Yeah, that's awesome. So most people, so if anyone has any questions during this, feel free to put them in the comments down below. Normally on a call like this, I would be looking at my phone answering questions throughout, but I'm going to focus on our conversation here, and I can get back to, or Dan can get back to, answering questions in the comments later. But I do have a question, because most people, when I say consider a probiotic, they tell me, well, I haven't had antibiotics recently, so do I really need to? What would be your response to this sort of question?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And what's interesting is, obviously, most people nowadays are a lot more familiar or educated about gut health and antibiotics and what they can do. Obviously, antibiotic is wiping out, bad bacteria, but it wipes out good bacteria at the same time. So that's definitely a well-known issue. And so even if you haven't taken a antibiotic, there's other medications that will disrupt the gut flora. So any type of over-the-counter or prescription medication, most of the time they're disrupting the gut flora. So that's number one. Number two is, not all of us have eaten clean and pure their whole life. I haven't. So I had, you kind of have ups and downs, or maybe you didn't know any better at a certain time or whatever. And so, just the diet can impact the gut flora. So there's a lot of things. And the other kind of similar question that's often asked, or a common question, is, I want to get my probiotics from food. And again, that's great. I had trained with Donna Gates, author of the Body Ecology Diet. So I became a certified body ecologist. And so that was during my journey, was trying to figure out all this stuff. So I think eating probiotic rich foods is amazing. I think it's great to try to incorporate that into your diet whenever possible, whether it's cultured veggies like, homemade sauerkraut, lacto-fermented foods, and then, or, kefir is very powerful. So those are all like fantastic. So the difference between, a probiotic and, let's say, a probiotic rich food is again, it's the strains of bacteria. So they're very, we make a lot of consideration goes into the strain selection, and the potency and the strain selection of the and so yeah, if you haven't had antibiotic, you could still, you might not have the perfect biome, and you know, the beauty of it is, for the most part, you know, you could try something and it's not like, oh my God, you know, there's low risk of trying something and to see if that improves your health or not, you know. So you may or may not need one, but if it doesn't really hurt to try.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So moving on from the probiotic, another wonderful supplement that you have created is the digestive enzymes. And I often recommend these when people are having histamine issues, or they haven't got enough stomach acid to digest food, you know, sufficiently. What's the benefit of people having a digestive enzyme, and you know, how can they actually benefit from it when needed?
So, yeah. So again, this is a it feels to me that it's you know, probiotics get the spotlight. It's like, you know, they're so amazing, and you know, there's all these kind of new studies on probiotics. But then when you turn to enzymes, it's kind of like people are like, what's an enzyme? It's not as sexy, it's not as glamorous as probiotics. So, but what's you know, like during my kind of gut healing journey, I really discovered, you know, the power and benefit of the enzymes. And so again, if your gut isn't 100% perfect, you know, operating, which most people don't have a perfect, you know, gut, is, you know, the enzymes are just simply specialized proteins that help break down the food. So what happens if you are eating food and maybe your system isn't perfect and you're not breaking down all the food, I guess two things kind of happen. One, and I see, and the one thing is, a lot of people that are, you know, investing in high quality food. So you're spending more to get the grass-fed beef or organic. And so you're paying all this money to get this wonderful, great food from your local farmer, or maybe you're growing it yourself. And then if your digestion is subpar, you're not really reaping all the benefits. You're not getting all the benefits. And then the second worst part is when you have undigested food in your gut, that can feed pathogenic bacteria. So you're kind of fighting yourself. So even though you might be eating great food, but if you're subpar digestion, you might have undigested food that's causing, you know, issues. And so taking a enzyme just helps your body naturally break down the food, and so then you can absorb it. You know, you'll reduce the chance of feeding the pathogens with undigested food, and then it's kind of a they work hand in hand with probiotics, so that some of the functions overlap in terms of digestion. Probiotics have a lot more different functions with just overall gut health and immune, but the enzymes are kind of like help support overall gut health. And then when you talk about HCl, hydrochloric acid, that's, you know, sometimes when people are low in HCl, they'll have symptoms that makes it seem like they have too much acid, and then they end up taking an acid, and so it's like this kind of a dichotomy that where, no, I've got acid reflux. Well, that's many times that the case is too low of stomach acid. So taking a stomach acid again can help with the digestion. HCl can help with viruses and bacteria, pathogenic bacteria. So there's a lot of functions of HCl. Plus, it can help you absorb minerals better. So there's so many advantages of just digestive enzymes, but then also you know, HCl. So we have two products. One is digestive enzymes that help, you know, break down fat, protein, and difficult to digest carbohydrates. And then we also have one that's that has the HCl in there, and it's a lower. What's interesting, what we found was, you know, not everybody is severely deficient in HCl. And so a lot of the products in the marketplace, most of them that I've seen, they're like 600 milligrams of HCl, which may work for some people, but other people it's just too much. And you can have too much, stomach acid, and that'll cause problems. So with our product, we only have 200 milligrams. So that allows people to kind of titrate the dose and make it more custom to them. And at the same time, it does have the protease and lipase, so the fat protein enzyme. So one thing that happens a lot of times, we have customers that are, they are switching over, from a subpar diet, more like standard American diet. And they're like, man, I got to get my health back in order. So they start eating, more, I would say, real food or more meats that maybe they weren't eating as much fat or protein, more high carb diet, and then they're switching over, and their body just is kind of out of condition. They're not used to eating more protein and fat, and so some of these products like the enzymes or even the HCl plus enzymes, they just help that transition period that maybe you only need them for a few months, and then you don't have to take them, forever or anything like that. It's just to kind of get your body back, back in action, if you will.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of recommend with clients. So if they're experiencing symptoms that are related to low stomach acid, like acid reflux and heartburn, sometimes constipation, and numerous other symptoms, what would you say to someone like, not a lot of people don't know whether they could benefit from a digestive enzyme. So what sort of symptoms might someone be experiencing that they might consider a digestive enzyme?
Yeah, so it's any, really any digestive issue. So whether it's like bloating or belching, or if you just feel sluggish after a meal. Sometimes, people eat and then they're like, I want to go take a nap. Well, either maybe you just ate too much, or maybe your gut is not working properly. So there could be a number of, kind of just a lot of them are, gut, like symptoms. Others could be more, just there's the gut brain connection. So if that's we see that more, or it's more talked about, I guess, the whole gut brain thing with probiotics, but also with the enzymes. If you're just not not digesting, then like I was saying with the undigested food, the pathogens can release chemicals in the body, and that can impact different mental capabilities. So yeah, mostly I say just look for the gut symptoms, but there could be more than that.
Yeah, brain fog is a big one there.
Yep, exactly.
Not being able to think clearly. Yeah. So just moving on to some of the other wonderful products. One of my favorites is actually the magnesiums, because obviously I'm a mineral consultant and I love helping people balance their minerals. But one of the ones I love to recommend people is morning magnesium. So can you tell us a little bit about how this one was created and who can benefit from it?
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of my favorite products too. So the morning magnesium is, to take a step back, what we were seeing, people that were taking magnesium, there's a lot of studies that show a lot of people are deficient in magnesium. So it's a mineral that, while it's in, it's in food, I've actually in the course of writing my book, I sent out different foods to labs to be tested, because I wanted to see, because you always hear, oh, our soil's depleted, all this stuff, and maybe there are, like, if you're doing the, factory farm stuff, there's probably not much in those soils. But if you are working with local farmers, regenerative farming, they take good care of their soils. And so when I've tested foods for magnesium, it was, pretty much on par with what you'd see in the US database for food. So I was shocked because I'm thinking there's going to be nothing. But so you know, you can get, you know, nutrients through food, believe it or not. And then so always food first. But you know, in today's world, you know, like stress can deplete magnesium, and so you know, a lot of people, there's a lot of stress in the world, and so anyway, so what we saw was people would take, when they first ventured into taking magnesium, they would take like one single type of magnesium, and what would happen is they would say, oh, you know, I have this some type of, you know, so my antenna is always up to hear about negative reactions, because everybody likes to talk about this is great, all these great things, and it does all these wonderful things. But so I kind of have a, you know, kind of a, you know, super hearing when it comes to comes to issues, because I, you know, like I said, I've kind of had my journey, and I see other people struggling, and it's like that's just, it's not fun. So what I saw was people were taking individual types of magnesium, and if they took too much, they'd have some negative, you know, issues. So our Smidge morning magnesium, we went to kind of address that issue, was like, how do we, you know, kind of use our same, you know, kind of approach that we did with our probiotic, was, you know, getting a couple different strains, and keeping them in balance. So we have a morning that has 3 types of magnesium, and an evening with 2 types of magnesium. And so the morning, you know, so it's a balanced formula. So you're going to mitigate, you're going to get like maximize the benefits and mitigate the, you know, any downside. And so what's kind of neat about the morning magnesium, so we do have we also add some boron in there, that kind of helps interplay with the magnesium in a positive way. We have you know, malate, which is a great magnesium orotate. That one is, it's not as common. It's a more expensive magnesium, but it's got a good absorption rate, and so that's a fantastic product. And then taurinate, and so the taurinate, really, it has it's connected with taurine, and taurine is another thing that helps with the absorption of magnesium. So not only are we kind of mitigating any downside of taking too much of one, but we also have the taurine that occurs naturally in the taurinate, and then the boron also to help with absorption. So you have this amazing kind of interplay, and you know, people and so you know, with magnesium, magnesium is used, or the body uses it in, you know, some people say hundreds of different, you know, functions, others will say thousands. So it's, again, one of these things that if you're deficient, it could present itself in so many different ways. So it's so there's really not much of a downside to try it, and just to see, try it for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And some people like immediately feel it, you know, others might take, you know, a few weeks or a month. And you know, it's kind of a nice way to just include that in your diet to see if you do have deficiencies. That's, you know, you can obviously do the testing, you know, but a lot of our products, what our kind of goal is, you know, not so much like it's meant for, I don't want to say do it yourself, but you can safely try something, and it's not going to be like this mega dose or some supercharged thing that only, you know, for some certain situation. It's more like, again, supporting the body, getting it into balance, and then letting the body kind of like sort itself out.
And that's what I kind of like about both the Smidge morning magnesium and Smidge evening magnesium, is that it is a combination of you know, these very good forms of magnesium. And you know, you are right, I've seen people who have, you know, just done one and, you know, had reactions to it, or or not necessarily seen the benefits that they wanted to see.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, I'm kind of like you. I would say try something for at least 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
Because the whole idea is to create healthy red blood cells, and that those healthy red blood cells take time to turn over.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that is a benefit. So
And
so
then let me
obviously,
just,
yep, go for it.
yeah, just let me interject. So one of the things that not only that makes it different, but again, when I talked about the probiotic, it was like, no prebiotic, no, there's no fillers or anything like that. And so with the magnesium products, and with really all of our products, we don't use high speed, we say Smidge small batch supplements. And what we mean by that is we're going to use, the highest quality ingredients. We're going to test those ingredients, when we get the raw materials, we're going to test them to verify the purity and potency. Then when we make the product, we're not going to run it on a machine that requires lubricant. So a lot of products will have, it's called excipient. So whether it's like magnesium stearate, which is like a hydrogenated type product, or other types of things that are only added so the machine can run fast, so they can do, a million capsules an hour. Our products are going slow, or, sometimes it's semi-manual. Some, like our probiotic, is hand filled. So it's not just like cranking down these things and doing all these things to get the speed up so the cost can go down. We're not going to use, so in our magnesium products, there's no excipients or anything like that in there that would, people will say, it's just a small amount. Well, most people, they're investing so much in their health, they don't want a small amount of, something that's offensive. So that's one thing to, I guess, to highlight, that makes, that's one other thing that we do differently than many other manufacturers.
Wow, I do appreciate you sharing that, because yeah, when we're doing that fast manufacture, massive factory, yeah, there are things that I would not even thought about. And in a lot of these magnesiums, people will come to me and say, I'm taking magnesium, and I'm like, yeah, which one are you taking? Can I please look at the ingredients? And you're right, because like a lot of them have all of these stearate in it, and I'm like, I don't really like that. Or some of them have ingredients in the actual capsules that they're putting them in, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't think you want that in your body. Like, so it's handy to know that, doing them in small batches, and testing raw ingredients, and really making notice of what's going on with the machinery as well. That's really handy to know.
Yeah, no, it takes, it's more effort, more consideration, and but it's again kind of like the impetus for the whole company, and it really, our overall mission is really to to change 1 million lives. And so it's like, so that's kind of like what's in our forefront, is not only helping the most sensitive people. What was kind of interesting, so that's kind of, we started with, let's work with the people that really need the cleanest products. And then what really happened after that was, we started getting people, from, like, I call, or they call themselves, the biohacking community, like people that are like, they want the purest and the, the cleanest, and like, willing to pay, premium to get the best. And so what was interesting, we're trying to make our products so the most sensitive people can take them, but then on the other side, super high performance people are like, wow, this is amazing. So they really appreciate it too. So if you're somewhere in the middle, sometimes you're just like, I take magnesium, and you're not really, you don't have that awareness, that it's like, if you're super sensitive, you have a lot of awareness, what could be in there. And then if you're, like I said, the biohacking, the people that are like don't want an ounce of anything in their body that's not like, appropriate, they're hyper aware, it's the middle 80% of people are like, yeah, I take magnesium, I'm good.
Yeah, and that's funny because like yeah, I'm on the same end of the scale as you. I'm working with those super sensitive people, but yeah, that's interesting because I'd imagine as high performance people are very conscious of what they're putting in their body and
Oh, for sure.
wanting to look after, body's a temple
Yeah.
approach. So that's
Yeah.
really fascinating.
Yeah. It was just interesting because I didn't even, I'm like in my own little world over here. And then these other people are like, they're real knocking down our door to get our stuff.
That's awesome. That's awesome. A lot of people who come to me and they're taking magnesiums are often taking ones that don't actually have a very good absorption rate as well, which I find very fascinating. But, like morning magnesium, all of those magnesiums are really good with absorption. And same with evening magnesium by Smidge. It's just, good to see that, someone's actually put some thought into this and not just, trying to, here, magnesium's good. We're told that magnesium's good. Here, have lots of magnesium. But it actually matters about what type of magnesium you're actually consuming.
Yeah. I was just had a conversation. I was a guest on a podcast, and one of the doctors that was hosting it, he shared a story with me that he was, taking a magnesium from a big box type store, and he thought he was good, and then he tested, did blood work and tested, and it was like very low, and then he said, yeah, when I tried the morning magnesium, and it was like now he was up at the top of the ideal range or whatever, and so he just and so now because he has his patients or clients that would say like, can I just take what's at the store? It's magnesium, right? He's like, no, he did the test, he took it and tried it, and it was like night and day difference, in terms of the blood work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think you'll find that with a lot of supplements. It's not just,
Oh yeah. Right.
just buy whatever. Like, yeah, knowing a bit more can be very powerful. And
Right.
I guess that's the whole idea here is to, find the best of the best.
Exactly.
So now another product that we actually stock is wheat germ oil, the soft gels that Smidge makes. So
Right.
this is probably not as mainstream as some of the other topics that we have spoke of. So who should consider having Smidge's wheat germ oil?
Yeah. So the wheat germ oil. So it's interesting with the wheat germ oil, you hear wheat, and so most sensitive people are like, wheat, no thank you. And so it's non-GMO American wheat, and it's from the it's not from the grain, so we don't say it's gluten-free, and yes, if you're super sensitive, yeah, avoid it, for sure. But really it's, so you have the oil, so it's not, when you think of gluten, that's a protein, from the grain. So it's not going to be, we test it, and it's uh very, very low, it's very low. So but just remember, it's not the grain, it's the oil, and the oil is a rich source of vitamin E. And so, yeah, so like I said, some of our stuff is more old school, like stuff you'd see probably in the 1960s or something. And so this is a great source of vitamin E, and it's full spectrum. And so it's not just some one isolated form. And then it has, of course, when you're getting a real food source of a vitamin, you're not only getting the vitamin, but you're also getting other nutrients or cofactors. So it's gonna, inevitably just help your body recognize it as food, absorb it, and so, I think I think one set of people that do seek out, you know, vitamin E, vitamin E is an antioxidant. So there's a lot of times where we're eating foods that are, maybe less than ideal, or they have, if you're, can't eat all the time at home, if you're out, they're going to be using, different types of oils that you wouldn't normally eat. And so when you're taking a vitamin E, that's going to help with, it's kind of got the protective factor, antioxidant factor. So, and I think it's, again, not, it's just a good way to, kind of cover that base with vitamin E that you, may not. I mean, I think olive oil is a good source of vitamin E. So you might, the more stress you have on your body, the more, kind of desire, I guess, people would want to have an antioxidant. And like I said, whether it's stress of eating, oils that maybe you don't have control over, like processed, vegetable oils, and then, or if you're more, we see that, one group of people that likes the vitamin E from wheat germ oil are athletes. They like that product as well. So I kind of see those two things. And where do you see it fitting in, or what's how do you or what patients or customers would you recommend it to?
So yeah, a lot of people who have a lot of skin issues or a weakened immune system as well. Their diet hasn't been as clean as you say, and they've been exposed to a lot of hydrogenated oils, or in our community we call them toxic oils. Yeah, because of its protective factors.
Right.
And yeah, it's not something that, it's not the first thing I obviously recommend, but
Right.
building up to that, because I'm working with more sensitive people, and it takes time for them to bring their body back into balance. But yeah, I've seen great things immune system wise, because you like you say, vitamin E is an antioxidant. Skin wise as well, a lot of people with skin conditions can definitely benefit from wheat germ oil, the gels. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, any thoughts to add on that one?
Yeah, I was just thinking of a study that I'd read. I forget the title of it, but it was they had dogs that were now I forget the issue with it, but they had two sets of dogs. One, they were giving isolated vitamin E and really didn't see the benefit. But then when they did the wheat germ oil, it's again, it's kind of like not totally analogous to the magnesium example we were saying, but it does it does the type or quality or source of the nutrient matters more than most people think, I guess, is my message.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're giving an isolated form, the body doesn't always know what to do with it. And it's quite often those isolated forms are synthetically created.
Right.
And the body has no idea what to do with it. It's like, what are you giving me? Like, what is this stuff? And you don't use it the same way. And just because it's, patented, doesn't mean that it's, what the body actually needs. And when you give, a real whole food source of these nutrients, magical things can happen.
Right.
Yeah. So speaking of oils, this is one that we haven't actually got in stock yet, but I hope to plan to, and that's emu oil.
Yep. So that's from Australia, from a heritage breed, emus that are one of the things that, again, like I said earlier, we don't carry anything that's fortified with synthetic vitamins. And so one of the things that attracted us to the emu oil was that it's a naturally occurring vitamin K2. And so and in an animal form. So that's a lot of times when you that it's a a lot of times when you're eating any real food form, I guess, of a vitamin, we're going to absorb it better, and your body's going to recognize it. And so that was one of the things that attracted us to it, the emu, and that's why we carry it, was the K2. But it also has different, naturally occurring omega fatty acids. They're not all omega-3s, or it's a whole spectrum of omega fatty acids, but it's coming from a natural animal-based poultry emu oil. And so so you're getting good clean fat. It's not processed. It's not like heated to high temperatures or anything like that. It's just gently rendered to have this super nice oil, and with the vitamin K2.
So what sort of symptoms would someone be experiencing if they were to consider having emu oil?
Yeah, so the emu oil, a lot of people when you're talking about the vitamin E with the skin issues, so some people use the emu oil. I think it's more popular probably in Australia with topical, but obviously, we're selling it as a soft gel, so you take it internally. So a lot of skin issues that can benefit from the nice, fresh, clean, unadulterated fatty acids. People that are it pairs well with cod liver oil, where if you're getting natural vitamin A and D, and the K2 is a nice complement to that. So that those play, those three fat soluble vitamins play nicely together. And then, so I guess anything that's I think there's people pain in their joints, that would be the other kind of I think the big thing would be skin issues, joint pain, and then also just being able to get a nice K2 source to complement other fat soluble vitamins.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's kind of what joint pain and inflammation, itchy, dry skin can also benefit. And like you say, the K2. So for anyone who is watching and may not be aware, this is a cofactor when the body is creating its own hormone D, and it can be very helpful to create that for the immune system as well.
Exactly. So, and yeah, so what's interesting is your body, can create K2, but what is it dependent on? It's dependent on a healthy microbiome. So that's one of the other features of a healthy gut, going back to the gut, is, it can create vitamins for you. And so that's kind of like a thing that I don't hear a lot of people talk about. But so for your body to create its own K2, you need like a nice functioning gut, which, this is why we have K2, because not everybody has a nice functioning gut. And then also you have to have adequate levels of magnesium in the body as well. So those two things are, rare to have adequate magnesium and a healthy functioning gut. I'm sure there's, people out there that are there, but there's a lot of people that aren't. So that's where having a natural emu oil for K2 kind of comes into play. So that's where, a lot of our products are, we're always thinking food first and clean up your diet and try to get everything you can through food. But then there's always, maybe my health isn't quite there, so I do need to supplement. Or maybe I'm just not eating, or I don't have access to foods that give me those nutrients. So that's where we kind of come into play. Either if you're just don't have that access to clean food that would supply some nutrients, or maybe you're just not far enough along, on a healing journey that your body can kind of make some of these things for you.
Correct. So for any of my clients or long-term viewers out there, you heard it here. magnesium is important because, you know, a lot of people, I recommend this to, have had, you know, joint inflammation or pain or, you know, skin, and they're like, well, why haven't you told me about this before? And I'm like, well, because you need some things before we introduce K2. So yeah, magnesium is a really big cofactor there, as well as, you know, that good gut digestion and making sure that we're, you know, reducing sugar and, you know, hydrogenated oils and all of those nasty things in our diets and lifestyles.
Diet is it can't be stressed enough how important diet is.
Yeah, absolutely. So another one that I noticed in my little search is 𝗂𝗂 plum. So this is actually something that I'm really passionate about, is finding good sources of whole food vitamin C, and 𝗂𝗂 plum is high up on our list because, you know, you may or may not realize that most of our audience here is actually Australian. I'd say about 60% Australian and the rest 40% in the US and Canada, some in the UK as well. But yeah, 𝗂𝗂 plum. So what's your take on 𝗂𝗂 plum, and how can people benefit from this particular product?
Yeah, so again, 𝗂𝗂 plum, out of Australia, and so it's another real food source of vitamin C. And in the US, probably the most popular one is acerola cherry, is like kind of what people think of when they think of real food vitamin C. And you know, we had looked at acerola years ago, but we weren't too happy with the processing, and then a lot of it is fortified as well, because everybody likes to see like a big number on their supplement facts panel. So we you know, kind of looked around for years and years until we came across 𝗂𝗂 plum, and it is higher in vitamin C than acerola. So it's really the highest natural source of vitamin C. And then the other kind of key feature of Smidge 𝗂𝗂 plum is it's dried using refractance window drying. So it's the most gentlest drying technique that retains all of the almost all the nutrients, so the vitamin C and then other phytonutrients. So that, again, this is where we both really recognize that it's not just the vitamin C, it's like the whole package. So you're getting other 𝗿𝗏𝗃 acid, you're getting all these other components that have health-giving benefits, cofactors, and so on and so forth. So the refractance window drying would be like the gold standard, if you will, like the best way. Probably the second best would be freeze dried. And then a lot further down the list, you have other things like spray drying, which that introduces other stuff. Usually they have to put like like citric acid or other different types of things just for for it to work. And then way down at the bottom is like drum drying. There's a lot of heat destroys a lot of the nutrients. So yeah, so when you're buying a whole food vitamin C, it's important to know, you know, how it's dried, and then what the and then also to you know, kind of know that, you know, once you get above a certain percentage or, you know, of potency, you could kind of identify when products are fortified with, they're going to be fortified with ascorbic acid. So a lot of people that are seeking out natural vitamin C do not want ascorbic acid. And so that whatever, it's basically a minefield out there in terms of trying to find high quality products. So yeah, so vitamin C is and 𝗂𝗂 plum is amazing source, dried, you know, using refractance window drying. And so that's going to be you're going to get all the goodness, you know, that the 𝗂𝗂 plum has to offer.
Absolutely, because that's, you know, something we look at really highly when I'm recommending products to clients, because, you know, I'll say, well, we want a whole food vitamin C, and so then they just go and you know, purchase whatever they can if they're just watching me on Facebook or YouTube and not actually had a consultation or not have joined one of our challenges, or not a member of our program, they'll just go and buy the only whole food vitamin C that they can find, and sometimes it actually has ascorbic acid in it, or citric acid, or something that we're trying to avoid. And then the manufacturing process is actually a really huge important factor, because when I was doing this search for products that I was recommending clients, we were looking at other ones that were actually Australian based, and I'd ring up the manufacturer and I'd say, okay, so how do you actually manufacture this? I've seen you've got this orange peel whole food vitamin C, and it looks really good. How are you manufacturing it? And then I find out, oh, okay, it's not exactly what I'm looking for. Heating it to high temperatures to dehydrate it. And I'm like, yeah, but they say below 60 degrees is going to keep the nutrients. And I'm like, yeah, that's not actually the case. It's a lot lower than that. Okay, maybe you should consider that. But yeah, that's what I love about Smidge products, is not only do you look for the high quality ingredients, the manufacturing is also a huge factor in the way that you produce these products.
100%. So yeah, it's the sourcing and the processing, and hopefully it's almost very little or no processing, but type of thing. And then finally it's back to the excipient thing, that if you're if you did all those right, but then you start adding lubricants or excipients, then you kind of ruin it. So you get 3 shots. Yeah, the sourcing, the processing, and then the actual encapsulation, if you will. You got three different places that you do have to be meticulous to get to avoid any downside and to maximize the upside.
Yeah,
for sure.
And some of the whole food vitamin C's that I'm recommending to people are actually powders, and powders are great if they can take them, but sometimes if you've got sensitive children, they don't like the taste of it, or they don't like the texture of it, so encapsulating it can be a real benefit.
Yeah, for sure. I do. I think the powder thing, what's interesting, just to touch on the powders, because I think it's important, kind of you usually, well, not all the time, but sometimes I've seen powders that, and I think the reason they're in powder is because they're not fortified. I'm not saying all powders are perfect, but I think I've seen powders where it's like you do have to take a decent amount, because of the naturally occurring vitamin C isn't, you're not going to get a capsule that has 500 milligrams of vitamin C naturally occurring. It's impossible. So the powders, what I've seen when I've looked into it closely, was that they want to say like 500 milligrams because everybody's looking for like a bigger dose. So they said, oh, I'll just put in a powder and say, oh, just take like a scoop. And because otherwise that would be like 10 capsules or something like that. Nobody would want to do. But I think the overall thing again is when you're getting a higher quality product, you don't need to be, what we've found is people are having benefits without needing 500 milligrams of something. You only need whatever naturally occurring. And so I don't know if that's exactly because it's more bioavailable, the cofactors, like all these different variables. All I know is people respond so much better, and they don't need a mega dose of most things.
No, you're absolutely right. Especially I've actually seen a study done on whole food vitamin C, comparing it with the isolated forms, and you don't actually need as much when it comes to the whole food form, because your body knows how to respond to it.
Exactly.
And so you don't actually need those large amounts. So looking for those large amounts is not necessarily going to be the best thing, especially if it is isolated. And so when you're getting that whole food vitamin C, your body knows what to do with it, and you're actually responding better to it, and you have better benefits,
Exactly.
immune system wise. Yeah.
And so that kind of parlays into the name of the company, Smidge, just, a small amount, that you can get a large benefit from a small amount. So we're not the mega potency company, we're Smidge, small batch supplements.
I love that. I never even thought of that, but I love that. And it's so true, because when you're getting the right forms, you only need that smaller amount. You don't need to be mega dosing things. And quite often, if you're mega dosing things, you're just going to be urinating it out and wasting a heap of money on things that you don't actually need. So
right.
Yeah. So one more product I was going to ask you about, because this is one that I only just found out about today, and because I didn't realize you did it in my little research, because I was looking at my distributor here in Australia. There's only some of the products, not quite all of them, so I'll have to talk to you about that later. But the beef liver. So you've got a beef liver capsule, and this is something that I often recommend people start on for various reasons. But what do you recommend your beef liver supplement for?
Yeah, so the beef liver, is really, it's kind of when people ask me, Dan, like, I just want to take like one or two things or whatever, it's like, okay, take the morning magnesium and the beef liver. The beef liver basically has, I don't say everything besides, the magnesium it doesn't have. So the beef liver, it's going to have naturally occurring retinol or vitamin A. So that's amazing. It has so many different other nutrients. People refer to a beef liver as, nature's multivitamin, and they do that for a reason, because it is, it's rich in B vitamins, especially B12. It has a lot of minerals, so you're getting, and again, this is another thing that I had, tested was, I took some beef liver from a local organic farm that was doing things right, and it was pretty robust in terms of the nutrient profile. So not everybody has a good local farmer that they can get the beef liver from. So that's why we use New Zealand beef liver, so high quality grass-fed beef liver. So it's rich in vitamins and minerals. Minerals, you're going to get the copper, iron, and a bunch of other ones. But so basically, to me, it's kind of like a just, and a lot of people don't get enough vitamin A in their diet unless they're eating beef liver, or that's about, it's not, people will say, oh, I eat carrots or something like that. And so again, the beta carotene has to go through it requires a healthy gut. It requires all these processes to convert it. So you're really not getting the true benefits of retinol or vitamin A if you're trying to get it through carrots or vegetables. So beef liver is going to be the superstar of a natural vitamin A, plus copper, plus B vitamins. So yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, plus choline and catalase, and so many. You can actually even get vitamin C, a small amount from beef liver. It's like crazy. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. Converting that retinol is a very important factor in the body, and to be able to create it into a form that is usable, you need like 20 molecules of carrot to turn it into, and have the energy to turn it into 1 molecule of retinol. Whereas you can just get retinol directly from a source like beef liver, like cod liver oil, and it's just 1 for 1. The body doesn't have to think, the body doesn't have to take energy to make that, and a lot of people aren't creating enough energy to be able to turn that into a usable form of retinol anyway. So yeah, very powerful. And it is something that I often, it's one of the first things that I'll say, I would encourage you to, eat beef liver, and that like, oh, okay, well, here's another option.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's where we know there's people that, don't like the taste or can't get, a good source of beef liver. And so this is a great, easy way to do it. And so, yeah, so it is, like I was saying with the drying technique, so this is freeze dried. So it's gonna, there are some, like the old school beef livers were, they call it desiccated. It was more heated, so it was dehydrated, if you will, through heat. And so that then you're gonna degrade some of the nutrient profile. So this is freeze dried. There's not really a way to use, like I said, the best ultimate is refractance window drying, but just doesn't work with beef liver. So it's just not a possibility. So the freeze drying is way better than the old school way of heating it to dehydrate it. So it's retaining. It's got a great, amazing nutrient profile that you're going to get.
Oh, that's really good to know. That's awesome to know. So, so for anyone watching today, we are actually having a promotion on all of the products that we stock Smidge wise, and I hope to be able to in future stock some of these other wonderful products as well. So if you want to get a code, now there's only 5 available, 5 promotional codes for Smidge products available today. So if you want to get a code, just say Smidge in the comments down below, and we'll actually give you a 20% off voucher for that. Now there's only 5 available, but we have other promotions coming up during this week as we speak to our other suppliers. So keep an eye out for that. So is there anything else that you would like to comment on before we close out this call today, Dan?
Yeah, just to recap, I think the like you mentioned before, sourcing, processing, and then the being excipient free. Those are 3 big things that we're all about. Our mission is to change 1 million lives, and we do that. We want to empower optimal health, and really our goal is getting the body back into balance and honor the body's ability to heal itself. So none of our products are made to address any symptoms specifically. It's made to just get the body back into balance.
Yeah, and that's awesome, and that's what we're looking for here. And I'm so glad that you decided and accepted my offer to come and talk with us today, because it's good to know the integrity of companies. Some don't always have the same integrity, and I think Smidge has got a phenomenal mission and a phenomenal integrity. And yeah, I love all of the products that I have tried so far, and I look forward to trying some of these others that I have just found out about. So awesome. Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. And like I said before we jumped on live, it's great to be, support each other and just out to change the world and make it a better place for everybody.
Yeah. And I look forward to hearing when you publish your book too.
Yep. I'll be sure to let you know.
What's the title of your book while I'm thinking of that?
It's well. So it's eat well, supplement well, digest well.
Awesome. I love that. That's a great mission. Cool. Well, thank you very much, Dan, for joining us. And I know that Natalie's in the background here to support as well. So I'm sure I'll be chatting with her on the email. Yeah, and I look forward to hearing about your future book release and any new endeavors that you embark on in the future.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay, I've stopped the live stream from Facebook. So that's awesome. No, well, thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. And, I want to be in a position where I can create wonderful relationships with our, with the people who are helping support my clients essentially. So yeah, I'm very excited and yeah, happy.
All right, good deal. Well, thanks so much. And yeah, like if you have any questions or need anything, just give us a shout.
I surely will. I'll talk to you very soon. But yeah, have a wonderful rest of your Sunday.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.